He's trying to completely secularize our country.
You know, after decades of interviewing people, I take all interviews in a pretty mellow way. I've interviewed presidents, members of Congress, even some people on the world scene. And I really don't get excited about it all that much, but today is an exception. With me is someone who has been a key player, as much as Barry Goldwater or Ronald Reagan, in post-war conservatism. Phyllis Schlafly. Her book, A Choice Not an Echo, motivated many people toward the conservative cause. Her leadership among Republican women was pivotal in the party moving to the right in the 1960s, nominating Goldwater, paving the way for Reagan. And I, of course, remember that when she ran for Congress in Illinois in 1970, losing a hard-fought race and having a campaign manager by the name of James Brady, later White House press secretary. Welcome today.
Well, thank you. Thank you, John. Good to be with you.
Well, you have a new book out here called No Higher Power, Barack Obama's War on Religious Freedom. Tell us about it.
Well, that's what he's trying to do, establish himself as somebody who's running everything, and that there's no higher power than the federal government, particularly the executive branch. And he's trying to completely secularize our country, to get rid of all mention of God or religion in any public place, any public event, any public school. Just simply get rid of it. And a good example is the fact that every time he quotes the Declaration of Independence, he omits the word creator. Now, he can't blame that on the teleprompter because it's happened so many times.
Yeah, it certainly has, and I've seen him on occasion when he has referred to the Declaration of Independence. Now that you mention it, that's what we'd call a glaring omission. Obviously, the case that comes to most people's mind in a very glaring way is the recent ruling from the Department of Health and Human Services on contraceptives and the policy in hospitals. This strikes at the heart of many people's religious convictions, and you've seen leaders of the Catholic Church, Cardinal Dalton of New York among them, speaking out against this in a way that hasn't been seen from clerics in many years, at least among Roman Catholic clerics. Is this part of his war on religious
Well, yes,
freedom?
it is. It is a very important part. You notice he talks about freedom of worship, not religious liberty. By that he means you can go inside your church and shut the door and you can pray and that's okay. But he doesn't want anything that's outside of the walls of the church. Now, our wonderful churches in this country operate a lot of other institutions. Think of the hospitals, think of the schools, think of the colleges, think of all these charitable institutions that they do for anybody, all comers. And he wants the government to be able to control, to tell them what kind of insurance they have to buy, and to tell them they must provide free contraceptives and abortion drugs and sterilization procedures, even though that is a violation of their religious beliefs.
Right. Now, of course, we're finding today that many religious leaders are speaking out against this. This seems a little rare among established churches in the United States. Certainly, as a Roman Catholic, I find myself surprised to find the American Cardinals, for example, or the U.S. Catholic Conference being as outspoken as it is on this particular issue. Do you see this as an ecumenical response to the Obama policy? In other words, are other churches across the country speaking out?
Yes, they are. I think all of the denominations realize that this is an attack on their very right to exist and to operate schools, colleges, and hospitals, and so forth. And I noted that Richard Land of the Southern Baptists has spoken out in the same way that the Catholic bishops have done. It's a very important change. Yes, I was surprised at how vehement they were, but they understand that this is a direct attack on religious liberty, and if they have to conform to what the government says, they're not their own master anymore.
Right. Is Barack Obama the most secular president in your lifetime?
Well, every president from George Washington on has invoked God's name, thanked God for the blessings, the wonderful blessings he's imposed, given to the United States. And even the ones I don't like, and there are plenty of presidents I don't like, but they all have recognized that God has blessed our country in a way nobody else has. And you know, when Obama issued his Thanksgiving Day address, which the president always does, right. Well, it just wasn't clear who he was thanking, but it wasn't God.
No, it wasn't. Although he has retained the tradition of pardoning the turkey on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
That's about it. Phyllis Schlafly, it's a pleasure. You're still going strong right now, and a grandmother how many times?
Well, I have 14 grandchildren.
Wow.
And 6 children, and it's a wonderful country. I recommend marriage and children. Well, I recommend marriage first and then children.
And I'm sure that after reading this, you're going to recommend no higher power to your friends. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John.